Brian Brozeski, the head coach of the Norwin Knights girls basketball team, as they're just about set to play in the 6A championship game. Norwin a victor over Chartiers Valley in the semifinals, a game in which the Knights kind of pulled away in the second half, prevailing 63-47. First off, Brian, congratulations. I know your team has been in contention every single year. It's hard to believe that it's been almost a decade since you've been in a championship game. It's got to feel awfully sweet to get back there. What was that moment like when the game concluded in the semis?
Yeah, it was just a moment that just allowed you to, for a moment, kind of slide down and almost relax and try to take it in because, getting to the championship game was one of the goals we set earlier in the year. And so it just felt good for the seniors and for the team for them to be able to accomplish that and be able to get, a step closer to achieving their goal that they set at the beginning of the year.
It feels like a major reversal from what we saw towards the end of the regular season when your team kind of struggled at times, albeit in victories, and you also were really slow out of the gate in several games. That hasn't been the case in the two postseason contests, especially a 10-0 run against the Colts to start it. What has changed that allowed your team to start better?
I have to put it towards senior leadership. They do a nice job of making sure that the girls are ready to go from the get-go, especially in playoff games, because you got to make sure, at the tip, you're ready because, having a hard start helps out. But most of all, just making sure that you're focused and ready to handle however the start happens. And so really got to take it and hand it to my seniors for making sure that the team's ready to go out and perform and to make sure that they carry that momentum throughout the rest of the game as well.
The defense has been a calling card all season and really for several seasons now, but the offense putting up 60 some points, obviously a lot was clicking on that side. Kendall Berger had more than 20 points, but it seems like Ava Christopher stepped up in a big way. 14 points for her. That's got to be one of her better performances of her varsity career. What did she do so well?
What Ava did is just allowed the game to come to her. Our Coach Ostrike, our offensive coordinator, if you would, did a great job of, putting together some looks or some tendencies that they had that we thought we could take advantage of. And Ava was prepared and ready because Coach O did a great job getting her ready. And Ava capitalized on those moments. And she just did a nice job of playing to her strengths. And so, one of her strengths is the fact that she is a very athletically gifted person, and she's able to elevate very well. And so Ava was able to utilize that to help get some separation and to be able to make some shots.
How important was it that when Char Valley was making its run, that the Colts never got even? They never got the lead. Your team was able to maintain it, even though it came a little perilous at times.
Yeah, well, half the game is going to be the mental side of the game, and basketball is a game of runs. So you just got to be able to anticipate that, you're going to make yours. And we were fortunate to come out the gate and go on a 10-0 run. But they answered right back and pulled it in tight. And so I was proud of the girls for not crumbling and just realizing, all right, hey, we got to buckle back down, get back to what we're doing well and minimize, how they were being effective. And so give them credit for, grinding back out on the defensive side and then being able to execute on the offense and get some good looks.
So now you play in the 6A championship, and it's against a very familiar opponent, North Allegheny. And if I recall correctly, I think you got the better of the Tigers for your most recent WPIAL championship. But you kind of expected, I would assume, that you would see him at some point in the postseason, whether it's the WPIAL or the States. Playing for a third time with this year, you winning the two regular season matchups. Do you change anything?
You have to, because if you're not changing, you're not getting better. And so, you could see that Coach Spencer has done a great job preparing his team and making sure that every week, every game, they just have new wrinkles and they get better at what they actually do. That's not just as a team schematically, but individually. And so it's been very impressive. They've always been a very well coached team. And, they're definitely going to have things that they're going to try to do that they haven't necessarily shown to make sure that they're improving, getting better. And that's what we got to be able to do, is be able to step up to the challenge as well. Both of us are going to have little nuances or little wrinkles to try to take and get an advantage. But when it comes down to it, you just got to be able to adjust and execute on the fly, because basketball, you just never know, who's going to be hot and who's going to be having the good day. So, having everybody well-rounded and ready is going to be a big component.
North Allegheny with a slight upset of number 2 Peters Township in the semifinals, 43-30. When you've seen them earlier this season and now to the point where we're at with the championship, what stands out about North Allegheny and what they do well?
You know what? They remind me of our team a lot. And the fact that they have a lot of personnel pieces that can all contribute. They buy into the fundamentals, playing defense and doing the rebounding side of the game, and then the execution and attention to detail. Honestly, I think Coach Spencer can put on an offensive clinic. He has his girls locked in and dialed in. Their timing is impeccable, and how they try to exploit matchups is incredible. And he's been doing that for years. Honestly, he's a borderline mastermind genius of it. And so it's going to make it a challenge for us, and we got to make sure that we're locked in and ready to go when it comes time on Friday.
You play under the bright lights. You play in a big venue at the Pete. It's a lot different than every other game. And I know coaches say we want to just treat it like another game, but that's not realistic. So how do you kind of balance that?
No, you actually embrace it. You don't try to cover it up. You actually just realize, listen, this is a big game. It is a big moment. Embrace it, like it, enjoy it. You play this game because you want moments like this. So don't shy away from it and think it's not something. Realize it is something, but you can still perform in that moment. I think the fact that, you go out and you put a schedule together and you play in different environments that get you acclimated for it. That's how you keep it similar, but allow the kids to enjoy this moment, take it in. And then once that whistle, blows, after that first 30 seconds, it's just good old basketball on the court again.
Lastly, two-part question. You have won 2 WPIAL titles guiding Norwin. When you think back to those teams and those championship wins, was there a common thread, and what will you need to apply to get a third championship?
The common thread, I think, is the fact that the team chemistry has always been really high, and the fact that the girls just not only worked hard, but they worked hard together and always played together. And so that's something that I cherish as a coach. I think the fact that, they're there supporting one another, whether they're on the court with their teammates, or whether they're on the bench, supporting them from the bench, or whether it's in practice, and you're doing what you have to do to help your teammate get better. So I'd have to say that might be the underlining common theme there. And I have to apologize, but I missed the second part of your question. Do you mind repeating?
Well, basically, with that being a common thread, how do you then parlay that into your third championship on Friday night? Yeah,
we're going to just try to tie into what we do, and what we try to do well is play five people as one unit, basically, and be out there and just make sure that on the defensive side, we're communicating and playing, not one-on-one basketball, but 5-on-5 basketball. And the same thing on the offensive side. Going into there, we're going to have, things that we think that we can do, and things that matchups that we want to try to make. But again, it's going to come down to, who's hot. Can we recognize it as a team? And can we get that person, as many opportunities as possible while they are hot? And if I'm not, quote unquote, hot or on that day, it doesn't mean that I can't be useful. I just got to find ways to contribute in other facets. And that's where the heart and hustle come into play.
Well, Brian, it's been a great season to this point. Congrats on making it to another championship, and good luck against North Allegheny.
Thank you, Sean.